Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp used his biggest platform in some time not just to revel in his team's fine performance but to throw some shade toward the Premier League. More recap: 3 things we learned. Klopp said Saturday's Merseyside derby at Everton could look like Wednesday's UEFA Champions League quarter-final first leg between his Reds and Manchester City, with 2 thrilling but very different halves combining to give Liverpool a 3-0 advantage. If only the league would give teams a break. From the BBC, if we want to see games like this, then the Premier League have to think about the fixtures. Saturday's Merseyside derby should be something good and not cause problems. We have to find players now for what a lot of people say is the biggest game of the season. I do not feel good about this right now. If I don't play my best 11 against Everton, then we know what happens. As for the win over Man City, Klopp said it was ideal in every way, but admitted he didn't appreciate how much defending his side had to do in the second half after a buccaneering first 45 minutes saw the Reds score all 3 of their goals. First half was brilliant. It was how football should look. We knew about the quality of City but also about our quality as well. If we could control the game better against a team like Man City and not give the ball away, we would be closer to them in the league. More Liverpool fans destroy Man City bus. We defended the passes really good, but I wanted us to play more football. But I am not angry, it is all good. The Reds are now heavy favourites to join fellow first-leg stars Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Barcelona in the semi-finals, though few are completely ruling out Pep Guardiola's City ahead of Tuesday's second leg. Follow at Nicolas Mendola. Here we go. Arsenal is bidding to win the UEFA Europa League to ensure a place in next season's UEFA Champions League, and there's precious little hope of it happening any other way. More recap: 3 things we learned. Standing directly in its way is CSKA Moscow, and defeating the Russians would mean more trouble from an unusually strong field that features Atletico Madrid, Lyon, Sporting Lisbon, Marseille, RB Leipzig, Red Bull Salzburg, and Lazio. Here are the pertinent details of the remaining teams in the tournament and their quarter-final ties. Arsenal vs. CSKA Moscow. Arsene Wenger is keeping his lineup close to the vest, including goalkeepers Petr Cech and David Ospina. He says Alexander Lacazette is fit to start but wouldn't commit to selecting him. Domestically speaking, Arsenal's 51 points are 5 points behind 5th place Chelsea and 5 ahead of 7th place Burnley in the Premier League. CSKA is 3 points behind Spartak Moscow and 5 back of Lokomotiv Moscow in the race for the Russian Premier League. Head-to-head, the two sides met in the 2005-06 UEFA Champions League, with CSKA winning 1-0 in Russia on top of a scoreless draw at the Emirates Stadium during its first season as Arsenal's ground. Atletico Madrid vs Sporting Lisbon. Domestically speaking, Atleti is 9 points behind leaders Barcelona and 4 ahead of City rivals Real Madrid, with the Madrid derby looming this weekend. Sporting is 5 points shy of Porto and 6 behind Benfica in the Primera Liga. Head-to-head, a pair of Europa League dates in 2010 saw Sporting Lisbon advance by scoring the only away goals in 2-2 and 0-0 draws. RB Leipzig vs. Marseille. Domestically speaking, Marseille is 3rd in Ligue 1, 5 points back of Monaco and 2 ahead of Lyon. RBL is 4th in the Bundesliga, 2 points behind Borussia Dortmund and 1 clear of Bayer Leverkusen and Eintracht Frankfurt. Head-to-head, this is the first meeting between the German whiz kids and the French mainstays. Red Bull Salzburg vs. Lazio. Domestically speaking, Salzburg has an 8-point lead on SK Sturm Graz in the race for the Austrian Bundesliga crown, while Lazio's 57 points are 2 back of 4th place Inter Milan in Serie A. Head-to-head, Salzburg beat Lazio 2-1 home and away in the group stage of the 2009-10 Europa League. Follow at Nicolas Mendola. Pep Guardiola will try to find a plan to beat back Liverpool in Tuesday's UEFA Champions League quarter-final second leg at the Etihad Stadium, but for now he's starting at a 3-0 deficit on a day which has been anything but normal. Nobody believes we will go through, Guardiola said. We will convince ourselves tomorrow. More recap: 3 things we learned. It started with Man City's bus bombarded on its ride into Anfield, an act condemned by Liverpool in a statement, and never found its footing. Guardiola said the team bus is destroyed, and that he expected better from Liverpool. It'll taste like sour grapes to some, but the Man City manager pointed to an awful incident from last year's competition to underscore his point. So I did not expect that from the Liverpool side, their people. 1 year ago something happened in Dortmund, so we come here to play football, and I don't understand this kind of situation. The bus is destroyed, but I did not expect a prestigious club like Liverpool doing this kind of thing. It is not Liverpool, it is the people, but hopefully it does not happen again. For those who still want to call it sour grapes, Liverpool hero Steven Gerrard used his stage on BT Sport to call the incidents nothing that the club want to be associated with and bang out of order. Unfortunately, there could have been a psychological advantage from the fans' horrible decisions. Man City will have to double down on security for the reverse fixture to preserve safety. As for the match, a deeply wounded Man City has to find its way back somehow. All four ties have tilted scorelines, but City feels like it has the best odds to respond over the next 90-plus minutes. In the second half we tried everything but we couldn't find a goal. The first two goals we had control of the game but they scored. I don't have too many regrets or complaints. Nobody believes but we have another game. They had 2 attacks and scored 2 goals. That was tough but for the rest of the game we were so good. We had to score a goal but they defended more. Follow at Nicolas Mendola. Time and time again, Manchester City made inroads into the Liverpool back line. The Reds, of course, boasted a 3-0 half-time lead in the first leg of the two sides' UEFA Champions League quarter-final, but an away goal would have changed the vibe from party to anxiety association. Recap: Liverpool 3-0 Man City, and as City continually worked the ball to Leroy Sane on the left wing or Kevin De Bruyne just right of the centre, the Reds closed down any avenues toward Lloris Karius' goal. When City had the ball in its own half, or missed a touch in the middle of the park, there was a swarm of red shirts. It got to a point that on the rare occasion City had the ball in a dangerous area, the blue shirts were jumpy and off their game. From the BBC, we knew the atmosphere would be brilliant and it was, and we made the most of that. Second half they came at us more, we dropped deep at times. Our game is about working together as a team and we did that brilliantly. We all chipped in with the hard yards. It's only the first leg. I didn't make many fouls in the game so it's disappointing to miss out next week. Follow at Nicolas Mendola. Liverpool battered Manchester City 3-0 at Anfield on Wednesday in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League quarter-final. More. Recap: 3 things we learned. Jurgen Klopp's men have one foot in the semi-finals as Pep Guardiola got his tactics badly wrong and his team froze in the cauldron of Anfield. Here's a mark out of 10 for the players who took part in the All-Premier League battle. Liverpool Lloris Karius 6. He really didn't have much to do. No shots on target from City and a dodgy kick early on. All good apart from that. Trent Alexander-Arnold 7. Solid display after a shaky one at Palace at the weekend. Dealt with the threat of Leroy Sane superbly. Dejan Lovren 7. Did what he had to do well enough. Wasn't tested by Gabriel Jesus who hardly had any service. Virgil van Dijk 7. C above. A few loose passes but had little to do apart from keeping his position and clearing a few crosses. Andrew Robertson 8. Some fine surging runs from left back and dealt with Gundogan well. Another terrific display. James Milner 9. Great pass to set up Salah on his way to scoring the first and an all-action display. A proper leader. Jordan Henderson 8. Didn't put a foot wrong and led Liverpool from the heart of their midfield. Captain's display. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain 9. A wonderful goal for Liverpool's second and a committed, tireless display. Terrific. Sadio Mane headed home their third goal and caused so many problems with his pace. Well and truly back to his best. Roberto Firmino 7. Did so well to set up Salah for his goal and his runs in behind rattled Kompany and Otamendi. Mohamed Salah 8. Came off injured in the second half with what looked like a slight groin strain. Calm finish to make it 1-0, then set up Mane with a peach of a cross for Liverpool's third. Same old Salah, always scoring, and that's 38 for the season now. Subs Jorginho Wijnaldum on for Mohamed Salah, 53 feet 6 solid enough and added extra legs to midfield as Liverpool tired. Dominic Solanke for Roberto Firmino, 71 feet 6 one good run behind the City defense and tried his best to hold up the ball. Alberto Moreno on for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain 6 late sub to help Liverpool keep a clean sheet. Manchester City Ederson 6 didn't have a lot to do apart from picking the ball out of his net 3 times. Kyle Walker 4 really poor first half display. Caught napping by Firmino for the first and let Mane go for the third goal. Maybe he should just play as a right-sided centre-back going forward. Vincent Kompany 4 Not a great night for the City skipper. Struggled to deal with the movement of Firmino and couldn't galvanize City's shaky backline. Nicolas Otamendi 3 A poor night for the Argentine centre-back. Came waltzing out of the back to give the ball away for Liverpool's killer third goal. Aymeric Laporte 5 did okay out of position at left back after a slow start, but dealing with the threat of Salah never easy. Caught out of position by Milner for Liverpool's first goal. Fernandinho 4 failed to shield City's backline and looked nervous in possession. Lost the battle to Milner and Henderson and couldn't cope with the Ox running at him. Ilkay Gundogan 4 started on the right instead of Sterling and it didn't work. Failed to protect Walker and didn't add anything going forward. David Silva 6 did better in the second half as he tried to drag City back into the game and didn't anticipate a loose ball falling his way in the box as he could have scored. Kevin De Bruyne 5 a rare off night for KDB as he couldn't get on the ball in the first half and then struggled out wide in the second half early on, then moved back into the center. Leroy Sané 6 a rare bright spark for City in the first half and he was always a threat but couldn't do it all on his own. Gabriel Jesus 4 hardly touched the ball all game long. An isolated figure and seemed to freeze on the big night. Raheem Sterling on for Ilkay Gundogan, 57 feet 4 didn't impact the game at all and was predictably booed by fans of his former club. Should have started, could have easily won a penalty kick late on after Robertson caught him in the box. Follow at JPW_NBC Sports.